All right, good afternoon or good evening. Coming up on the evening, everyone. The time is now 4:34 p.m. and the June 26, 2024 Climate Change Action Plan Ad Hoc Committee meeting will come to order. Again, good evening. My name is Dr. Kenneth Harris, the District 7 representative for the Prince George's County Board of Education. I'm joined here by a number of my colleagues, as well as Pam Booth, another member of the Prince George's County Board of Education. Ms. Adeline, could you please call the roll?
Yep. Dr. Harris,
Present.
Ms. Bullis-Strother,
Present.
Donna Bell,
Present.
Kate Wonderlich, Yazi Gomez, Joseph Jakuda,
Present.
Christina Walk,
Present.
Timothy Meyer,
Present.
Dorothy Morrison,
Present.
David Noto,
Present.
Beth Novick, Ramon Palencia Calvo, Benjamin Roush, Antoine Thompson, James Dubois Garcia, Maya Godera, Olivia Thomas,
Here.
Sophia Villar, and Michael Witherspoon.
Present.
Very good. Thank you. We'll move on to section 1.4, the adoption of the meeting agenda. May I have a motion to adopt the June 26, 2024 meeting agenda for the Climate Change Action Plan Ad Hoc Committee?
I move for adoption of the Climate Change Action Plan Ad Hoc Committee meeting agenda.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Seconded.
Very good. Thank you. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any objections? I'll just call for unanimous vote. Any objections? Okay, hearing none, the motion on the floor passes. Moving on to section 1.5, the adoption of the meeting minutes. May I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes from May 16th, 2024 for the Climate Change Action Plan Ad Hoc Committee?
Joseph will make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Myers. Second, would anyone like the second?
I second.
Thank you. All right, so it's been moved and properly seconded. Are there any objections to the adoption of the meeting minutes from the May 16th meeting? Okay, hearing no objections, the motion, well, actually, I'll call for the vote. Let's just say all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Good, and I heard no objections, so just make sure I do that. Okay, check. All right, moving into section 2. So moving into section 2 discussion items, or 2.1, we'll receive a report from our Director of Sustainability. I'd like to remind committee members on the feedback. You'll have 2.5-minute rounds. There'll be 2 rounds, and if we need to extend beyond those 2 rounds, we'll vote to go to a 3rd round. I'll now yield the floor to Director Morrison to receive the Director of Sustainability report.
Thank you, Chair Harris. Good evening, everyone. So a few items that I have just to update you guys since the last meeting in May. So the Office of Sustainability is continuing to try to build capacity using various staffing, technology, and partners to help us do this work, this very important work of sustainability. Unfortunately, in the hiring side of things, things have progressed much slower than I anticipated. So we still have not gotten our 2 program managers in yet. However, they have been identified, and I guess offers have been made. It's just that they have not been finalized yet. One of them is supposed to start, I'm sorry, I take that back. One is finalized, and she starts on July the 1st. So we're waiting for the 2nd program manager to be finalized. So in July, we've had some internal discussions, and so in July, we are kicking off a brand new committee, yet another committee, right? That is going to be called Sustainability Strategic Planning Committee, and it's mostly going to be comprised of internal leadership here in the administration, mostly the directors and key decision makers, as well as subject matter experts. And the thinking around that committee is that we want to do better in terms of coordinating all our efforts and leveraging resources. Because as you all know, it's always an issue getting money and getting staffing resources. So what these meetings will help us do is to come together on key decisions. For example, when we're building schools, we want to be able to, at that level of planning, be able to say, well, you know, it has to be solar ready, it has to have geothermal, whatever it is. So I think that even though it's yet another meeting, I think it's going to be really important because it's going to be a meeting where we have decision makers and we could better align our efforts. So more to come on that. I believe our first meeting is scheduled for July 14th. So I personally am looking forward to that because I believe in non-silos, right? I feel like we do better when we can all kind of collaborate and work together. I also wanted to give folks an update on the grants that we have received. We received 4 million, I believe it was towards the end of May. So that was after we had our last ad hoc meeting. And the 4 million is for net zero funding. So things like solar, geothermal, and the grant came from the Maryland Energy Administration. And subsequently, after we got word that we had received that 4 million, we got additional good news that we received an additional 72,000 to help with light retrofits, so LED lighting retrofits for Calverton Elementary School. So we're very honored to be being recognized by external partners and being awarded these funds. So yeah, I think I mentioned during the last meeting too that we have a consultant that we have sort of procured that is going to be helping us identify all the various grants that are out there to see what's feasible for our school system, as well as help us write the grants. So I'm hoping as a result of that, we will be getting more funding from the Inflation Reduction Act and other federal funding sources that are out there. Let's see, what else? We are currently working on the draft for the year-end report. As you all know, there's a requirement that we do biannual report. We had I guess it was back in January, we had the mid-year, I'm sorry, the mid-year report, and now we are working towards the final year-end report that is anticipated in July. So I'm working with the communications folks to help us make it pretty, help us design it, have some photos and links and graphics, all that wonderful stuff. So, and with that, I just wanted to sort of, I guess, usher in one of tonight's, I guess, key, well, let me just say, first of all, that we are hoping to get in more detail as relates to the CAP with regards to green schools in the county. So how do we get from 75% to 100%? So that's going to be a topic of discussion, as well as talk about how we integrate climate change as well as environmental justice literacy into the curriculum, as well as develop, I guess, a pipeline of students in the field of sustainability. So with that, I guess, I don't know if this is the right time to usher in. Or Kenneth, you have to be that call. I'm sorry.
Let's put a pin in the green school discussion until we get to item 2.2. Let's open the floor for questions regarding the first half of the sustainability report for item 2.1. So colleagues, the floor is open for questions. And as you all begin to raise your hand, I'll kick things off. So Director Morrison, you mentioned the $4 million grant from the MD Energy Administration. Can you say again what those grant dollars can be used
for?
Maybe speak a little.
So, well, first of all, I guess MEA has what they're calling a decarbonizing school program. So this is an annual a grant opportunity they put out for schools where they can apply. It's a competitive process. So we were lucky to, and there are 4 categories. And so the first category, I believe, is capacity building, which I think in 2022, we were able to get that grant. And then there was a second category, which is, I believe it's energy efficiency. So that's the lead piece, that's the lead lighting piece. And the formula that we got it was a general category. It said net zero, but what we specifically applied for, let me just pull out so I get the right schools on here. But it's mostly going to be for geothermal at various schools. And I could potentially send, I don't think I have that update, the details, but I will, in the process of the meeting, I can probably put it in the chat because I don't have the information with me right now. So, but it's mostly for geothermal.
Okay.
It's my understanding, and it's for, I believe it's 3 schools. And I think they're trying to, in terms of the equity piece, it's going to be distributed in a way that it's not going to be all the school districts, obviously, right now, but right now they're just, I guess, targeting the 3 for now.
Okay. Yeah, let's
Thermal is it, and I'll try to find the school so I can text that.
yeah, that would be helpful. Because something that we may want to report out on.
Okay, I just found it.
Or-
Just in time. Okay. And I can also, okay, so we have it's Margaret Brent Elementary School. So that's in New Carlton. And the second one is in Riverdale, and it is Templeton Elementary School. And there is the third one, which that one I don't have with me, but I can text that one. So those are the 2 schools that I have currently with me here. Is that helpful?
It is helpful. I'd be interested to know in the future how we're going about
Choosing the schools?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My time's up here, so
Yeah, and we can get that information to you. It has to do with the schools that are determined to be underserved populations. I think there were certain criteria that were on here, but I'd be more than happy to share that. Low income, I guess, was one of them, underserved. Yeah, those were the 2 main areas of consideration. Yeah.
okay. Well, thank you. Any other colleagues have questions just regarding item 2.1, the Director of Sustainability Report, Mr. Jakuda?
First, I want to say congratulations on getting those 2 awards. That's really excellent news. And I had just a quick question on the lighting one. Approximately how many schools would the 72,000 cover?
It's just the one. It's really just Colleton Elementary for that one. Yeah, just one. But it's a start, right? Hopefully we can apply for more funding opportunities.
That concludes your question, Mr. Jakuda? All right, so seeing no other hands up, no other questions, I think we're okay to go to, oh, sorry, Ms. Clark.
Thanks so much. Sorry, again, just also congratulations on these great grants. I think in between the course of our last meeting and this meeting, there was also great news about the electric school bus funds that I believe PGCPS also received. I just wanted to make sure that is indeed true.
Yeah, I thought we talked about that the last meeting, but yes, that's true. We did receive, and I believe that one was in the neighborhood of just under 5 million. So I'd say roughly approximately 5 million for electric school buses. So I think our greatest challenge right now is the infrastructure. Talking to Director Baldwin, is now that we have the buses, we have to figure out how to charge them. So that's kind of what we're working feverishly on. There's actually another grant opportunity that we are in the process of applying for, and that's the, I believe it's the heavy duty, I guess heavy duty vehicles grant that EPA has out. And so some of that funding couldn't go towards the infrastructure. so the electric chargers for the buses. So we are in the process of applying for that, and I believe that is due July 14th, so that's around the corner. You know, we keep our fingers crossed that we get that one too.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kwok. That concludes your question. All right, over to you, Mr. Martin.
Thank you very much. This is more of a broad question for your department. And as we're wrapping up the budget cycle and the board is supposed to vote tomorrow night on the current budget, are there any priorities that you wanted to get funding for, where either you didn't get funding or where you wish that you had? And I know that we always wish that we had more funding, but any specific areas you wish you had more funding? And that's more of a forward-thinking question, because as we know, sometimes it takes a couple months worth of groundwork, Elaine,
exactly.
to start having discussions for a budget for a year.
Right. And that's a good point. I know when I started back in October, I had just missed the cycle, so the opportunity to weigh in on what we could potentially need. So there's a placeholder amount that was, I guess, given to this department. It's not nearly enough, but one of the things that I have told management, my leadership, that would be really, really critical in this work is to have a management system, so a sustainability management system. So what that does for us, it helps us just be better organized. So right now we have all kinds of databases. We're using Excel spreadsheets and, you know, things that are probably on individuals' computers. So with the sustainability management system, it's going to allow us to be, you know, school-wide, district-wide, so we can, you know, operations can enter all their data, be able to retrieve it at a moment's notice. For auditing purposes, it's also a useful tool to have, because all you have to do is go to one place. You don't have to start looking for stuff and finding files. So that I know I don't know how much it's going to necessarily cost, but I know it's not going to be cheap. So one of the things that I'm going to be looking into is how much in-house capacity we have with our IT folks to see if they can build us a system, and you know, whatever they can provide without us having to use external consultants, because I think it's going to be more expensive, obviously, if we use external consultants. And then we can kind of just maybe contract out the pieces that they can't do, but that's going to be the first step, is to work with the IT internally so where they can provide for us. But yeah, that would require funding too, to even build it internally, maybe just not as much. So yeah, that would be my wish list, is to be able to get funding for some sort of a sustainability management system.
Thank you very much. And I'm taking notes on all that for making sure that we as leaders in the system try to help advocate for priorities like that.
I appreciate it so very much.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Meyer. And I guess we should probably circle around to Chief Zuckerman as well, in regards to your previous comment, Director Morrison. I'm just making notes around that. I'm sure you have already, but just for my own notes. All right, everyone, seeing no other hands up, let's jump into item 2.2, which is our Green Schools report and our goals report by district. I'm pretty excited about this one, but again, I'll turn the floor over to you, Director Morrison.
Sure.
Talk a bit about that.
So yeah, I'm looking for Mr. Robertson. There he is. I'm glad you made it safely. James is currently, you know, he's out of town, he's on vacation. So I want to say thank you so much that you've actually taken time off your vacation time to be with us here today. So we definitely appreciate it. So I think, James, you probably have some slides. I don't know if you were able to share it with Cindy in advance, or you're just gonna project. Oh, perfect.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Dorothy, for the introduction. For those that don't know me, my name is James Robertson. I work at the Schmidt Center. I'm a colleague of Mr. Bell. I'm an instructional specialist there for environmental literacy. And one of my job responsibilities is to coordinate the PGCPS Maryland Green School Initiative. Before I kind of jump into that, I just want to say, as Dorothy pointed out, I'm away. And right now I'm in a public space catching the Wi-Fi. There is definitely the potential I'm going to have to move around or go on mute. So my apologies. Okay, Mr. Bell, thank you for presenting. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. All right, so quick introduction to the Maryland Green School Program. There's a nonprofit in Maryland that certifies all public and private schools as Maryland Green Schools. It is known as MAO, the Maryland Association for Environmental and Outdoor Education. They began the Maryland Green School Program in 1999. And so I'll talk a little bit about that. What happens is that schools that are interested in becoming a green school submit application number 1, as it's referred to, and that shows some green work that happened the previous school year and the current school year. After that, the school is hopefully certified. And then every 4 years, schools have to go through a recertification process, which looks identical to the first certification they went through. After schools have been recertified after a number of years, I believe that's 14 years, they get to application number 5. Mayo recognizes schools that have that 14-year commitment. Are in it for the long haul, hopefully, so they reduce some of the requirements. So it's a slightly easier lift for schools after they hit year 14. So the Schmidt Center's role in coordinating this effort, we support schools with the application process. It's a lengthy application, so we support schools with that. And we also help with the programming, which we'll talk about in a moment. And we provide professional development to teachers throughout the school year. That addresses the Maryland Green School Program. Next slide. All right, I'm not going to touch on all this, just big picture for this Maryland Green School application. There are 3 main sections. Objective 1, the systemic sustainability. And this references really around professional development for teachers and instruction for students. Our students receiving instruction in the classroom around green issues, and it's pretty broad. And our teachers going through professional development. There's a few other subcategories, but that's kind of big picture for objective 1. Objective 2, are students taking action on their campus or in their community about what they've learned? So really going out and doing something, maybe it's putting signage up in the school building about saving water, saving energy. Maybe it's a tree planting event. Maybe it's recycling. And then that objective 3, community partnerships, who is helping the school do some of this work? And so that is the 3rd requirement. That's definitely big picture about what happens. Next slide. All right, so to become a Maryland Green School, what Mayo is looking for, that certifying body, is a shift in culture. It's not about the building itself. It's not whether or not the building has solar panels or geothermal or low flush toilets. Any school can qualify and go through the process. It's about what the teachers and students are doing inside and outside the building. So you can see here some photos from some of our students engaged in green school activities. Some of it's happening, as I said, outdoors, some of it's happening indoors inside the schools, but it's a shift in culture where everybody's kind of thinking green, so to speak. Next slide. All right, so the Schmidt Center, I said, offers support with the application and through programming. I'm just going to touch on some of our programs. I'm not going to do a deep dive here, but for example, in kindergarten, we have a program called Growing Up Green. Integrates the arts, science, and so you can see one of the students there doing some stitching on some canvas. And 1st grade, we have a field trip opportunity for students to go out to some of our local parks and engage with some of our park partners. In 3rd grade, we have a partnership with the Maryland Department of Natural Resources where students are raising sunfish in the classroom for a year. And then at the end of the school year, they release them into a local waterway. Our 5th grade trip, which is our legacy program, students are coming out and spending the night with us at the Schmidt Center and going through environmental science activities and team building activities. Next slide. When we get to the older kids, In sixth grade, we have a fats, oils, and grease lesson embedded into the science unit where they're looking at sewage overflows and the impacts that that can have on the environment. In seventh grade, we have our wild rice program where students are planting wild rice in the winter, raising it throughout the spring, and then they go out for a restoration event in late spring in one of two kind of waterways we have partnerships with. In eighth grade, we have our terrapin program where students are head starting terrapins collected on Poplar Island in the bay. They raise them for a year, release them back out into the bay at the end of May, typically. In ninth grade, we have a muscle power program, very similar to the terrapin program. Students are raising muscles in the classroom and then placing them back into their natural habitat, which is usually in the Anacostia River. And then another high school program is our Envirothon, where students are learning about different topics. They have set topics and one that changes every year. And so that is definitely big picture, and that's kind of the elevator pitch on what we do at the Schmidt Center. We have other programs, but these are some of the larger ones. Next slide. All right, so where are we with the Maryland Green School program? We are #1 in the state. We have 150 certified Maryland Green Schools. You can see some of the local jurisdictions there, but we'd like to be at 100%. You can see Calvert and Queen Anne's counties. They are at 100%. Now, they're much smaller. They don't have 200 schools, but it is possible. And so that's what hopefully we get to talk a little bit about today. Next slide. So looking at the breakdown in PGCPS, you all can see the numbers there, kind of how it shakes out right now through 2024. And I haven't said anything about green centers. We're focused on green schools. Mayo also certifies non-school entities to be a green center to support schools. So the Schmidt Center is the only green center in PGCPS. There are other green centers in the county. They're just not associated with a PGCPS, or they're not internal to PGCPS, I should say. Next slide. So more breakdown here. So we've got just 139 schools that are Maryland Green Schools, and then we've got 4 schools that have hit that sustainable status. So they're at that 14-year mark. We've got 7 that are classified as sustainable bronze. They've actually been doing it for 18 plus years. And so at year 22, they'll hit sustainable silver, and it kind of continues to go up. And you can see the Schmidt Center is at that 18 plus year mark as well. So we've got several schools that have been in this for quite a number of years. Next slide. And then you can see it, the breakdown by school district. I'm fairly certain we have your numbers right there, looking at the PGCPS website. But that's the latest and greatest, I believe. All right, next slide. And this has kind of been the growth. The Schmidt Center became very active in the Maryland Green School program right around 2014. And you can see it's kind of taken off since then. I will point out we have kind of sort of plateaued in getting new schools. That low-hanging fruit, that is gone. We are definitely picking from the top of the tree now to get these last few schools in. All right, next slide. All right, so the benefits of the Maryland Green School program, it certainly supports the CCAP. We see reductions in waste, that's waste going to the landfill, waste with utilities, we're talking to them about energy conservation, water conservation. So hopefully schools are seeing lower utility bills. We empower students to take action and be solution oriented. We want students to spend more time outdoors, and so we're seeing that at our green schools. Teachers are supported with professional development and connections to quite a number of our partners that are supporting this work in the county and out of county. And, you know, we are a leader, and we're being recognized as a leader across the state in this effort. That's a recent picture of us with some teachers out at the compost facility, trying to give them some professional development about our composting program. All right, next slide. All right, so just think about for this group, what we would like to see is just support at all levels, at leadership level. We want principals to hear that this is important. That's really what got us going in the beginning. Principals hearing, hey, we want to do this. We want to see our schools become certified Maryland Green Schools. If we had a timeline to reach that 100%, and then recognition from the school board, I'm not certain if that's happened in the past or not. And then just one other, think about, you know, schools that certify and or recertify, if there's any funding out there to just give them a little bit of small recognition and support, maybe for their green team, or take them on a field trip with some kind of stipend, or one idea out there that could support some of the work that they're doing. And I'm sure you all have some ideas as well. So next slide. And I will point out there are two other experts in my mind on this committee that are very familiar with the Green School process, and that's Mr. Bell. And I saw Beth Novick join as well, and she's been through the process before and has been supportive in the effort with the Schmidt Center. So I'm finished.
Well, definitely. Thank you so much, Mr. Robinson, for the presentation. I'm not sure, colleagues, if you have questions specifically around these slides. If so, I'd ask you to reshare the slide deck for me if slides do come up. I think it's fantastic that you provided that information, broke down on the updated information based on each individual district. I think is important, and I will share it with the board and our colleagues to encourage them to make sure that our schools get to 100% right. I think that 150 number that we're at is fantastic. But what can we do to close that gap? And I think some of the ideas that you had near the end of the presentation would definitely help us move the needle there. And then the work of this committee is going to be to help to find new innovative ways that we can continue to support you in that way. I see board member Boozer shut his hand up, so I'll go over to you.
All right, thank you so much. And thank you, James. I just also wanted to add a perspective of, well, one, joining with my colleagues as a board member, absolutely will be promoting that slide and offering support and getting excited about it and finding out what their principals need and how Dr. Harris and I can support board members who are messaging this and want to help their own schools. So thank you for that breakdown. And now, of course, I'm motivated to get to 100% in District 3. So it doesn't look like I have quite as far to go as some of the other districts. But, you know, I wanted to say, as a parent who entered a school that I think had just become a green school, and maybe longer, Mount Rainier Elementary, you know, many years ago now, 9 years ago, that the green school program was also, it was, you know, that culture was just so profound to me as a parent. So I just want to congratulate everyone in the division who makes this happen, because it was at the same time as the arts integration priorities were really ramping up. So that kindergarten program was where the PTO actually helped raise money for arts integration and green school environmental curriculum, and so many activities to bring parents in was centered around being a green school. And I think it made for a stronger school community. So now recognizing, that gap from the 150, and really I'm really going to look at the elementary schools, because I think it is such a great opportunity for new parents in the system too, to see if we can prioritize that and also talk about these other benefits and how the program has driven parent engagement as much as student learning and staff and school culture. So thank you all so much.
I'm glad to hear the parent perspective, and so thank you for sharing that. We often don't hear from parents. We mostly hear right from teachers and students, so it's appreciated.
Mr. Jakuda.
Thank you for the presentation. I just wanted to first say, I used to be a member of my community green team, and one of the things we were interested in getting some of the local schools to become green schools back in the early 2010s, and it just seemed so challenging. There just wasn't the bandwidth to do it, so it's amazing how many schools you've gone on board and how you provided the educators with the bandwidth to make this happen. My question though was involving sort of more on the Mayo side of it. I was wondering, how have their standards changed over time, and in particular, have they sort of updated to take into consideration climate change more so in the recent years with the standards?
So before I answer your question, I do want to address, in those 2010s where it did seem like, we could stall out and not see a number of green schools. The big difference was that resources went to that. So human resources went to the Schmidt Center, and so did some financial resources. And it was pointed out to us by leadership, this is important. And so that's when that shift began to change. Or happen. So, it just didn't happen on its own. All right, to your question about Mayo, are they starting to integrate climate change into the application? It's kind of been hit and miss. About 3 or 4 years ago, there was certainly an intention on their part to implement that and to have schools specifically address it. And then it has kind of faded back. They are aware, certainly, and I will say that I sit on Mayo's advisory board that looks at this green school application year to year. So it's certainly in front of their mind about how they want to address it, but they're also cognizant of kind of what you brought up. They're not certain that they want to put anything else into the application because it is such a heavy lift for teachers who are usually the ones filling out this application. So there's some discussion about what changes could be made.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, I had to double check my camera and my mic. Can you see me now? Is it back on? Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Clark, I'll go to you and then Ms. Gomez.
Thanks. In speaking about the potential hit or the history of hit or miss with climate change and the potential to look at the application and revise the application at all, I just wanted to make you all aware, recently UNESCO has just launched a sort of new set of quality standards for green schools that perhaps might be of use in thinking about what could potentially go into a revised application or one that could integrate more of climate considerations. So just wanted to flag that. I'm happy to send the link to it, to the new resource, I guess to maybe Cindy or somebody to share with the rest of the group. Thanks.
No, that would be appreciated. The summer is when the application is reviewed, trying to get it. If there are going to be revisions, they want to do that, prior to the start of school. Thank you.
Ms. Gomez, and then we'll go to Mr. Meyer. And then Ms. Novick. You want to circle back, Jossie? We can go to Meyer and then Novick if you get in your audio.
Can everyone hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, great. Thanks, James, for the presentation. Just wanted to make sure I heard you correctly. Is it possible for organizations that are not schools? I represent a municipality, the city of District Heights, and I know you mentioned that schools aren't the only centers that can be green centers or a part of the green program. Can you clarify that?
I can. So there's two programs, the Green Schools program, which is only for schools. And then there is the Green Center program, which I just kind of briefly mentioned. But the Schmidt Center is a green center because we're not a school. And absolutely different organizations can go through that certification process. I don't know if I've heard of a municipality doing it, but it also doesn't mean that municipality wouldn't be eligible. I know we have some park and planning facilities that in Prince George's County that are green centers. So if it's something that you would like to learn more about, I am happy at least to give you a starter. And then if you really want to go forward, I can put you in contact with Mail directly.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. I think I thought that it was more connected to providing resources to students. Primarily, I'm thinking about bandwidth with the elementary schools that we have in the city and close by, and what gaps the municipality could potentially fill if our schools are not in a place to be ready to sign up for a program.
I have a different answer for you then. So under that objective 3 partnerships, your municipality is a perfect fit to help schools fill those gaps. And that's one thing the Schmidt Center wants to do is kind of make those connections to schools with partners like you. And so if that's the role you would like to play, then we should definitely talk.
Yeah, well then let's definitely talk.
Great.
I'll actually get in line for my question and raise my hand here. We'll go over to you, Mr. Meyer, and then Ms. Novick. And I'm gonna turn over to you, colleague Boozer Struther, to handle the Q&A for a second. I have to jump off camera. I'll be right back.
Okay,
Over to you, Ms.
understood. Okay, go ahead, Tim.
Thank you very much. And I had one or two comments first before a question. Mount Rainier Elementary just went through our green school recertification process this past year. And I can't say enough about the efforts from the team at the Schmidt Center in terms of helping. We have a dedicated environmental committee at the school made up of about 7 or 8 teachers who meet on a monthly basis. They always invite me to join as PTO president to join their meetings, but we would go through almost every meeting, the different steps to check off all those different boxes that you mentioned in your report. And they could, from myself and also just the team at Mount Rainier Elementary, we had a great experience dealing with the Schmidt Center. So I just wanted to start off by saying thank you to everyone there. I agree with the strategy of trying to target the elementary schools, especially among new parents coming into the system. Green activities are a great parent engagement tool that not only advances the goals of the climate change action plan, but also can try to just help integrate parents into school communities. And I've seen that myself. So the question I had was, among the 50 schools who are not green schools, are there a couple of reasons that you hear most frequently of, the main impediments that, because if we understand what the impediments are to schools pursuing green school certification status, then maybe we can help brainstorm on how to overcome those.
Yeah, so the 2 big reasons I hear, potentially from a principal will be, there's just no capacity. Right, this is not high on their priority list. They'll point out, they've got 101 other things that they need to address. And so there's, like I said, there's no capacity. The other is, there's no teacher interest. Like the teachers are, for lack of a better term, they're just kind of stretched too thin and spent. And it typically is a teacher or a committee of teachers that does this. And so, the principal may be on board, may want to push forward, but she doesn't have the staff time.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Tim. Beth, you are next.
Hey, sorry to be off camera. I'm multitasking. Couple little things. One way that the board might be able to support this would be that at our school, teachers get an emolument for doing this work. And there's limited number of emoluments available at a school. I don't know the payroll or I don't know the accounting or the budgetary process, but I know that they're usually for enrichment or some kind of community service. Maybe the board could say this, here's a column for paying that teacher. It takes about 40 plus hours. So that's another whole week of work beyond grading papers and planning lessons and calling parents to do green school. And so to at least get financial compensation for that work guaranteed would be great. Second, I just completed a grant process, and one of the questions on there was, are you a green school? So folks beyond just our area are looking at that. And third, it's a huge opportunity for a culture shift. I cannot overemphasize that. The partnerships with the Anacostia Watershed, the Schmidt Center, Alice Ferguson, once you get those connections, you're looking at opportunities for field trips and so many other things. So I really, really think emphasis on this, continued emphasis, is a worthwhile endeavor. It's changed my life to be part of the Green School Initiative. And I just was at Roosevelt's graduation, and a student said, I wrote about you in my college essay, Miss Novick, because when we were doing the Green School thing, I decided to go into environmental education. So 2 students stopped me and said they went into environmental science at University of Maryland based on their experiences in environmental stuff. So it's powerful.
Oh, thank you so much, Ms. Novick. Those are great. Well, one, the recommendation to make sure we're paying attention to the budget and the emoluments, and I certainly commit for that. We'll take that down and make sure we're following up on it. But also, you remind me of our goal of storytelling. You're sharing some stories and how we have committed as a ad hoc committee that we're going to elevate the art of storytelling, and our student members are going to be part of the documentation and utilizing grow their own experience through storytelling. So I hope we can continue to capture those that come from your experience at Kenmore Middle and as your students go on to their high school careers. So, but James, did you also have a response to Mr. Novick?
I'm just going to share kind of back up what Beth said, or Ms. Novick said. Like, what we see is once a school becomes a Maryland Green School, then they really start to blossom, a lot of them, into doing other green things. Because they've got these partnerships, because they've been through the process, they then want to do more. And so they typically stay engaged. It's not true for every school, but it's true for a lot of them.
Great, thank you so much. And David Noto, I see your hand is up as well.
Thanks. I'm sorry for being off camera. I've been trying to multitask semi-successfully. Mr. Robeson, I had a question. I'm not sure if you mentioned this before. Again, I apologize if I missed it. But did you do you have a list of all of the 150 green schools out there? And if not, would it be possible for that list to be shared with us so that we could perhaps then, I don't know, try applying some friendly support to the schools that are not currently green schools as a way to nudge them forwards into being in that place?
We definitely have the list, and I would drop it in the chat. I don't see the chat function, or I would drop the link in. But yeah, I'm happy to share that list.
Yeah, thank you, David.
The list
heard-
of all 150 schools, and I also have a separate spreadsheet broken down by school district. So the same information, but just kind of a different view.
yeah, and I think that list is maintained on the PGCPS website somewhere, right? Of the
They
current-
typically come to us for it. So I'm not sure, yeah, who's doing that on the IT side.
Yeah, we'll make sure it's listed there. It might be the click through. Actually, I think it's the click through to Mayo logs them all, possibly. I know I've seen it. So we'll follow up on that as an action item to make sure that it's visible and at least during this sort of campaign of expansion, it seems like visible by school board district too, to sort of help everyone get understand where these partnership opportunities are, all those intersections. So we'll work on that. Great suggestion, David.
Yeah, and we'll also try to put that on the website, because that's very important information to have on there, on the sustainability website, the one-stop shop for the public.
Just want to
Alright.
mention one other item, kind of sort of related to Maryland Green Schools. There's a U.S. federal designation from U.S. Ed for green ribbon schools. And that is very different than the state program. Currently, PGCPS has 0 green ribbon schools. And we would like, and I think there's only 20 to 25 in the state of Maryland. But most are in Montgomery County and Anne Arundel. There are a few scattered here and there. But that's something that we would like to see change as well. Because we're well positioned for it. And it's a one-time certification. Once you have it, the school has it forever.
Thank you so
And I
much.
should say, sorry, the district can also certify as a U.S. Green Ribbon District.
So many goals ahead is what I'm hearing. And yeah, I totally agree. We've got to figure out about that green, the national level recognitions for all the hard work. So I do not see any more hands.
got
So
one more hand. Colleague.
I see board member Harris is back. So I will yield back to you.
Oh, thank you. I was just telling you again, Mr. Bill.
Sure thing. And this isn't a question, but just a comment for our ad hoc committee is that several of the recommendations that we discuss here, as well as, of course, components of the climate change action plan, naturally lend themselves to the green school application process, right? So one of the things James mentioned is that this application supports CCAP and vice versa, right? CCAP supports Maryland Green School Program. So another area of support could be just making the associations in our future discussions, as well as some of the programs and initiatives that we've already discussed, when they come up of how does this fit into the Maryland Green School, right, pathway? And many of them will, not saying every single one, but we've had discussions about gardens, right? And that could potentially be an area that fits under objective 1, 2, and 3 of the Maryland Green School Program associated with our climate change action plan. Or another would be having schools interact with Director Morrison's office or facilities office, right, is another component that we didn't get into tonight. But those directly help schools. And the more they can see, if we're talking about climate change action plan, how what we're talking about already checks one of those boxes with the Maryland Green School Program, right, the easier it is for them to see that as possible.
Very good. Trying to keep up with my actions over here. Oh, Mr. Meyer, the floor is yours.
I just have my, are we going to be doing a round two?
Yeah, round two. That's you.
Okay. Um, following up on a couple of things. First of all, what Mr. Bell just said about things that there are one of the possible impediments I can imagine, other than principal capacity or teacher interest, is also for some schools just whether they have the resources to do some of the extra types of activities that might be part of the application. So I wanted to mention there's the Growing Green with Pride event that happens twice a year. That's a free event that's put on by the county. Part of the reason why I'm on this committee is to help push things like the National Walk, Bike, and Roll to School Days. That's something I believe Mount Rainier Elementary included in our application this year, which would fit under the responsible transportation bucket. So, and the other thing in terms of resources is there's the third part about community partnerships, with which Ms. Gomez was talking about earlier, wanting to do a little bit more with her local schools. We have had a really good relationship with all of our local municipalities, so that I'd happy to talk more about the types of green activities that we've done as a local neighborhood elementary school with municipalities. But there's also some grant opportunities out there that, not that any grants are easy to get, but you don't have to go get $100,000 grant. We had a $5,000, Chesapeake Bay Trust has $5,000 rolling mini grants throughout the year. That's the type of thing that if a school is really interested in going through this process, I'm happy to work with. I'm already thinking of the 4 schools in District 3 to help board member Boozer Struther here, get to that 100% goal. But for any of the other board members, I'm happy to go talk to any PTO or PTA and share the types of partnerships that we've been able to develop over the last couple of years as a green school. So I didn't really have a question, but more just commenting on ways that people can work, especially through the community partnership, and then taking advantage of existing things that we already have in the county, like Growing Green with Pride, as a good opportunity to check off a couple of the boxes that you need for the recertification or certification or recertification.
I'll just add, going back to the comment about municipality support, I'll share one example. But Mr. Meyer, before I share that, you're exactly right. There are a lot of ways for folks to come in and support that objective 3 through partnerships, and schools are always appreciative. But the city of Laurel, that's my example, supports 3 schools in Laurel: Laurel Elementary, Laurel High School, and I believe the other is Scotchtown Hills Elementary. And they support them through their composting program. You know, they've set up the haulers, the infrastructure to make that happen. And the Schmidt Center's gone through and done some of the educational pieces. But here's one where municipalities really stepped in and they're doing quite a bit of work to support the schools. And that goes hand in hand with the Green School application. And so, you know, we would like to see more municipalities supporting in similar ways.
Yeah, you know, we're definitely interested here in the city of District Heights. The last year to 18 months or so, we've started to integrate ourselves and fill some gaps. And we've also done, outside of the school setting, we've done the Growing Green with Pride events. We do them twice a year, every time they come up. So that would be some low-hanging fruit that maybe we can include District Heights Elementary up in North Forestville as well. I'm thinking landscaping, but like any ideas would be useful. Again, I don't know about at this point a program, but I do think that there could be some good ways to at least start with some events and programming to socialize the idea at least.
The idea of landscaping, I've seen that with the municipality of Berwyn Heights and supporting Berwyn Heights Elementary. I think it's a great idea.
Landscape is a great parent building activity too. If you take a day where you just have parents come together and all landscape for 2 or 3 hours, it's a great, in addition to the green aspect, it's also just a great community and parent building activity.
So I'd love if I can, and I know I said this earlier, follow up with you, Mr. Roberson, and also maybe you, Mr. Meyer, on how we can implement that.
Happy to.
Sorry, guys, I'm gonna have to keep my camera off. There's something going on with it right now. So I want to say again, thank you, Mr. Meyer, for trying to spearhead the effort to help to get our school system to that 100%. I know even at a previous board meeting, you said some of your previous comments that you're willing to help, right? If schools and organizations have these questions and they just need some guidance in those areas, we are willing to help and help get to that goal that we all share around green schools specifically, just to talk a bit to your first comment there. And then when we try to bring in municipalities specifically, I think, Commissioner Gomez and I have a number of conversations around this, and we're happy with the work that we've done thus far and how we continue to almost set a framework for how we can bring other cities in a very equitable manner, in a very comprehensive manner, I'd say. And so, colleagues, are there any further questions around item 2.2, Green Schools and Report and Goals for Mr. Roberson before I let him off the floor here? You've been great, sir. Thank you for that. Okay, I don't see any other hands up, so I'm going to move on to item 2.3, and I see my colleague getting prepped here. This is going to priority recommendation number 1 for the support of environmental justice through curriculum training and partnerships. We'll be discussing the O2 Launch's annual Climate Ready Leadership Summit, and so now we'll receive the priority 1 recommendation for the support of environmental justice through curriculum, and I'll turn the floor over to Board Member Boozer Struthers for that item.
All right, thank you, Dr. Harris. So I want to thank everyone again for your vote on the motion last week for us to move forward and implement this action item for the Climate Ready Leadership Summit. And there were a lot of questions about the scope and focus of what this essentially this sub work group would do. So what we did is Dr. Harris and I took a step back with our Chief Academic Officer, Dr. White, and with Donald Bell and with Director Morrison, and had a conversation about the priorities for the Division of Academics. And Dr. White spent some time before our meeting to determine where she felt the first, and this is of course just first year, the idea is that our students and parents and others who serve on the subgroup will be part of influencing curriculum change, year over year. So first year, she identified that what she would really like to do is have us focus on the existing opportunities that touch every student in particular grade bands. So those type of opportunities include the JA Finance Park in 7th grade. This is a financial literacy simulation where climate action choices can be brought into that curriculum in a way that doesn't exist today. So that's one example. That would be a piece of the work. The other, of course, is the deep work that already exists in the excellent programming, advancing with the Schmidt and Alice Ferguson 5th grade trip, which every student has access to, and then also Owen Science Center curriculum, and that is at least will be included. At this stage, I would, I don't know, I would say that that's the absolute limitation of these opportunities where every student in every school are touched at these particular steps in their grades through PGCPS. So the framework of the sub-work group would be around those pieces of curriculum. And in our follow-ups, when we send the Green School List, we'll send a link to the sign-up page to be part of the sub-work group, now that everyone is hearing more about the focus. I wanted to come back and make that clear. And I'll pause here to have the others who were part of the meeting reflect on the notes that they took, and if there's anything else they would like to add or clarify to my reporting on this conversation with Dr. White. So Donald, do you have any
Yeah,
further?
I concur, Board Member Boozer Struther. In addition, there was some discussion in terms of having the science office team be in communication with JA Finance, HB Owens, and the William Schmidt Center in terms of good, thank you. I have a visitor as well. Uh, to communicate and collaborate with those offices as we identify the areas within science to be that sort of that backbone of students understanding climate literacy, and then moving forward with to other areas from there. But I agree.
All right, great. Thank you so much for adding those additional pieces of the discussion. Director Morrison or Dr. Harris, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I think you were pretty thorough. I know one of the things that I started doing was developing some sort of like an activity matrix that kind of looks at the universe of possibilities and things we have to consider. And so that's still a work in progress. Right now I have things like, classroom instruction, outdoor education, higher educational partners, or establishing, partnerships with higher ed, so that we can create this pipeline of new leaders, career professional development, career professionals. So partnering with industries in addition to universities to sort of have internships in place, apprenticeships in place for our students as well. And then of course, there's always the nonprofits that are out there who are willing to support us financially in the effort.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. So we don't plan to spend a lot of, everyone was very generous with your time at the last meeting. So at this stage, I just wanted to make sure for anyone on the ad hoc committee who wants to add in this additional time commitment, that hopefully that's helpful information. And of course, I could talk one-on-one with anyone, before making your final decision. And then the kind of structure of, what is the actual delivery model of this leadership summit? We get to design that as well. Like in my head, I imagine, well, JA Finance Park is, these are all experiential. The members of this work group would have those experiential opportunities to go and with a 7th grade trip to JA Finance Park, that there would be, these opportunities to, to be in that experience and curriculum as part of the summit. And of course, we would have an opportunity for reporting out, maybe, and identifying how these report outs take place. Will they be combined with the end of year Student Environmental Alliance event or otherwise? And so that is also another fun piece to be a part of, to define, what do we mean by this leadership summit, these multiple opportunities to convene and report on the work, and then ultimately report on decisions out of the ultimately Dr. White, and as Chief Academic Officer, would announce the final decisions from her curriculum team. But it will definitely be measurable. We will see our work come to fruition. So I am happy to do my best to answer any additional questions at this time. But I think the next step is that to identify your participation, and we will begin convening that particular subgroup. So I'll pause here to have Dr. Harris just manage any questions or additional comments on this.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for bearing with me with these technical difficulties, and thanks for leading the conversation, colleague. I see Ms. Kwok's hand up, so I'll go over to you, Ms. Kwok.
Thanks so much. I'm really excited about this subgroup. I think it certainly speaks to the forward-looking nature of the county when it comes to finding ways to really integrate topics beyond climate science, but, you know, really thinking about climate justice aspects as well into the curriculum. I think it's interesting that the sort of this, in terms of the phased approach, the first step would be to identify those existing opportunities. I think it's, you know, part of that is, you know, how do we get the low-hanging fruit first and ensure that there are pathways to incorporate these topics. And so, you know, integrating into sciences and the existing field trips and the existing sort of touch points for environmental literacy, I think is smart. I love the idea that the financial literacy aspect also has a component. I think there is certainly an area that we don't speak enough about when it comes to the impacts of climate change on communities. Is how does it affect our finances and our financial decision making? So all really great. I'm really excited. You have one person volunteering here, and so just wanted to say that I'm excited to see this go off, and yeah, happy to help in any way I can. Thanks.
Thanks, Ms. Kwok. Ms. Thompson, Mr. Thompson.
Good. I just wanted to echo as well. Our office is very involved in environmental justice matters. I need to get some water. And anything we can do to help present, develop curriculum, strategy, we are all on board, but I'm really excited about this. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, and I'm just so elated, ecstatic, motivated that the school district is going down this road. People who live inside the Beltway have anywhere from 10 to 15 years shorter lifespan than those who live outside the Beltway in the county. And so teaching kids about that and hopefully getting their parents involved with this can really save lives. And I think that's the part that's really important to me, is about our ability to save lives and educate them. So thank you for your leadership, and here to support. Be the wind beneath your wings.
Definitely gonna need all the support we can get here. Board Member Bootstrap, I know I dropped off and came back on. Did we talk at all about the different levels and the touch points when it comes to elementary, middle, and high school from the curriculum aspect?
I didn't call that out specifically, but I noted that it was grade band. The opportunities where every single student in that grade band goes through the same experience, like J.A. Finance Park in 7th grade. So, but I did not note if we had all three, elementary, middle, and high school, because I personally, as a parent, have not experienced the Owen Science Center through my child. So I'm excited for whenever that happens.
Yeah. Okay, understood. No, I bring it up because I know that, again, that's part of how we get our start in this, right? We understand that there are different needs at different levels, and we want to make sure that we understand that we're doing the most intentional approach for each student, and having as much of an impact as possible through multiple touch points throughout their educational journey there. The Owen Science Center is great. I'm just going to put that out there for Board Member Bootstrap. Okay. Any other questions from our colleagues before I move on to our next and final agenda item? Okay. Seeing nothing, I am once again turning the floor over to you, Director Morrison, for item 2.4, the 24-25 committee work plan. The floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you. So we had an agenda meeting, you know, the board members and myself, about a week or so ago, trying to craft what we would talk about, I guess, for today's meeting. And so one of the things that we talked about was to have a work plan, so a year out on what we're going to be talking about, so topics. And so what I have sort of done internally, I have developed a list of potential topic areas, which I still have to route that internally to the operations staff to see if they're okay with it. But what I thought would make sense is, like, you know, we have these 8 priority action items or areas within the climate action plan. And I thought that it'll be an opportunity to do a deeper dive into each of those areas for the meetings, for the upcoming meetings. So I know, I believe was the May meeting, or was it the April meeting? We had Director Baldwin kind of do a deeper dive with the transportation aspect. And I believe that is item number 4, low carbon schools transportation. So, so the thinking is subsequent meetings, we will address the other areas. Now, obviously we have to allow ourselves some flexibility, because if in the process something, you know, happens in between meetings that, you know, requires action from this group, we'll obviously include it in the agenda. So I don't know if Cindy already has that to put up, or we can maybe just circulate that later. But basically what I have so far, how do you want to do this, Dr. Harris? Okay, okay, perfect, there we go. So this is what we have so far. So this is today's meeting. Obviously, we talked about green schools, and we talked about infusing the climate change and environmental justice literacy into school curriculum. Now, you know, for the August 28th, one of the things I thought would be kind of ready to go would be to talk about climate resilient land management through stormwater management strategies. However, to follow on what I just said previously, something has come up internally with regards to turf fields. I know we all love to talk about turf fields. So what I was going to suggest is maybe potentially, we have spoken internally, and we have experts who are just, you know, waiting to talk to this body about the pros and cons of, I guess, artificial versus turf fields. I know this has been an ongoing issue. The climate action plan requires that we use natural turf. So, so yeah, I was wondering if we could, I don't know if we'll have time for both of them. I know the turf field issue can get pretty lengthy and intense, but so yeah, so it's up for consideration. I could potentially modify that to include the topic on turf fields for 28, because that also falls under resilient land management. So we can either do both topics or just do maybe just one. So this is what we have so far. I have put in parentheses and bolded the particular priority area that a particular topics pertains to. So I guess we're just looking for feedback on what we currently have so far.
And just to provide some clarification, I know we'll be taking questions on this as well. This is a draft schedule of the dates and the topics. These topics, as they align with the dates, are times where we will get official reports from Director Morrison's group based on what she found most appropriate for how they're working through their plan. This committee is able to request updates on any priority during any of our meetings. But this is just when the timeframe would fall in line with their working on the administrative side.
Correct.
So for example, if in the August meeting, if we want to discuss reducing the carbon footprint for buildings, which isn't slated for our big 2-month discussion until April, we can always request for that information to be at this meeting during a planning session. So I'll open the floor up to our colleagues quickly for, or not quickly, but I'll open the floor up to our colleagues for feedback and comments around the tentative topics that we'll be discussing. I see Mr. Thompson's hand. It's still up from last time.
No, I just put it back up.
Okay, so Mr. Thompson, and then Mr. Jakuda, in that order.
Yeah, two things that I think are really important. The first one is around decarbonization of our vehicle fleet, not just the buses, but also the buses. That process has been woefully slow. There's a lot of work that the district needs to do to, we are far behind Fairfax County and Montgomery County. And we need some upgrades to our facilities over there as well. I think we really need to be involved with pushing that along because a lot of kids ride diesel school buses in Prince George's County. In addition to that, we need to also look at efforts to decarbonize or use lower carbon fuels for some of the other off-road, on-road equipment that might be hard to electrify right now, but they are not environmentally friendly for workers, for neighborhoods, and also for kids as well. The last thing, I was at an AFL-CIO meeting today, national meeting in DC around climate and equity. One of the things I was talking to them about was trying to get organized labor to be able to come to speak to students more about these amazing careers and maybe seeing if possible, if we can get the U.S. Department of Education to provide more support to schools around either the Title I money or other funding, supplemental funding that can be used to expand, increase career opportunities. A lot of our kids are not going immediately to college. As we know, a lot of them drop out as well. These are great paying jobs that can save lives and transform communities. So those are the two things I wanted to see that we could look at having some more conversation about jobs, but also I didn't see the transportation, which is to me, a big omission, not on that list. Thanks.
Thank you for that. And another thing to consider, colleagues, our charter identifies us meeting every other month. As the committee wishes, we're open to meet not every month, but we're open to meeting on the off months as well. And again, to discuss varying topics that take priority. And so that is one that should be definitely added to the list and shouldn't be boiled into something else, because I know that has been woefully slow ever since we started the implementation process. But as you know, it's a big undertaking, right? So let's be intentional on getting that onto the schedule as well, Director Morrison. Other thoughts, committee members, Mr. Meyer?
Thank you very much. The only other topic that I would suggest adding in here, and maybe it's possible to do this as just a shorter discussion in some other meeting, is parent engagement. And that's just me putting on my hat as a PTO leader. And I know there's a couple other, I don't know everyone on the committee who also happens to be a PGCPS parent as well, but I know Mr. Jakuda is a neighbor of mine. Miss Wunderlich, I know, is a former PTO leader. So I think we have at least a couple people on this committee who could talk to that topic, but this goes along with the green school discussion earlier of anything that we can do that throughout the school system that also draws more parents into the system to be involved.
Okay, so that would be a topic about how do we get more parents engaged?
Yeah, parent engagement.
On that same vein, I'm sorry, Mr. Meyer, are you done?
I am, yes, thank you.
Very good. And in that same vein, I think it might be fruitful to have a space for our municipal leaders as well, if we want to something along those lines. It might be good to have an agenda item at one of our meetings or on an off month, where once we've had the conversation around how we'd like to engage with the cities and leadership within there, how that will be executed and potentially move something through the committee. So maybe let's think about exercising that on the docket as well. Mr. Jakuda.
Yes, I had both a recommendation and also just a general question. The recommendation was, I know there's some interest in some community members, especially down in District 8 for to hear more on solar and to see progress on the issue of solar installations. So I would love it if that if it's possible to move that up in the schedule. And then the bigger question is, I was wondering if at the sort of after we've gone through the whole cycle, if there should be any opportunities to work on recommendations or anything that Ms. Morrison or the group needs to provide to help the process.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you for those recommendations. Any comment back, Director Morrison?
yeah, I was just thinking, so thanks for that, Joseph. I definitely, I guess under renewable energy sources and net zero, we can certainly have the conversation specific about solar. So definitely just a matter of adding it. And I believe now, were you asking that it be moved up? Because I think right now it's slated for December the 18th. And the reason for that being, we are right now in the process of looking at ways to sort of I guess right now we have with the new schools that we've built, we have some consultants who are supposed to be installing solar, but we're trying to look at master contracts where we can do it in a more holistic way, where we have like a blanket of vetted solar contractors that would, design, build, and maintain. Because we obviously don't have the capacity in-house to sort of maintain the solar. So we're looking for that kind of contract. So to give us, and we've already spoken to MDOT, Maryland Department of Transportation, they have something similar. And so we're looking to have that kind of agreement in place. And so I had pushed that to like a December timeframe because I felt like we would probably be in a better position to speak more to the solar specifically.
So again, I think that the topics on the calendar align with the official report that comes from your office. But moving up to that date, we can discuss these items that the committee wishes. Joseph was mentioning, or Mr. Jakuda was mentioning, as well as the small group sessions that we've been having with individuals that are interested in either solar, renewable energy, and what have you, and bring those to the table in the committee as a whole. So I think that's appropriate. I think what we should do is also update our committee, or when Board Member Booz and Struther and I will talk a bit around the planning meetings that we have and making sure the committee's items that the committees find are higher priority are incorporated into the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, colleagues, any other comments around the agenda? Mr. Meyer, round two.
Thank you very much. And actually, your comment about municipalities is what spurred another thought for me, which is that as this group gets a little bit further down, a few more meetings from now, and gets a little bit more work done, it might be worth trying to engage with a group like PGCMA to see if we could set up some sort of a partnership meeting between several people from this committee and them to talk about municipal partnership opportunities. Or even if we want to try to promote PGCPS and everything that they do for green schools, there are opportunities like the Maryland Municipal League Conference just wrapped up, but they do have a fall conference as well. So just throwing some ideas out there of if we're trying to promote the green initiatives in the green schools of PGCPS, that could be an opportunity. And then for partnerships, at least even having some sort of discussion with PGCMA or other similar groups in the county.
Understood. Good suggestion. Ms. Nelbert.
All right, did you call on me?
I did.
Okay, thank you. Now I live in Greenbelt, so our municipality, I agree, let's include them on many things. But I teach in Landover, where I'm not sure we have such an engaged, so I'd say this is also an issue of equity, making sure that each district has representation that is able to participate in school initiatives. And that would be great.
I agree. I think from the representation aspect, I'd like to know, and I'm saying this here because I don't know, what municipalities are currently have, I guess, threads, or they're doing events around specifically what this committee is trying to do, and then what exact priority are they impacting with the work that they're doing within their individual city. And I think that would be good for our committee to know, but also to help encourage how to bolster participation from others and increase the work that they are doing. Ms. Novick, I saw your hand went back up, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
And
mean,
then-
it might be as simple as asking who our board members are, and then what their area of, what can be their outreach to, I mean, that's the political part of education. Now, if all the political folk could get together and have a conversation, that'd be helpful.
Yeah. Okay, we can pull that. Let me see. Just make a note on that. And Commissioner Gomez, and then Board Member Busestrother, in that order.
Yeah, I actually just got back from MML last night, so I'd be happy to facilitate if we'd like to get on the PGCMA schedule. I believe we're currently on recess until September, but happy to facilitate whatever we need.
Thank you for that, colleague.
Yeah, thank you so much. I love this discussion about the municipal partnerships and county partnerships, and it does remind me that it would make sense now, a couple, 2-3 years into the county's climate action plan and the PGCPS plan, to do those alignment checks to see if we're all on path on some of the where we had already identified the shared priorities. When we did the climate change action plan, we purposefully fell back about 3 months, from 2 or 3 months from the county's work group, so that we could align better. And we actually had pretty significant meetings with the commissioner of that plan and the primary staff members as that plan was put out to the residents. So I could see a great opportunity for the all elected officials. And the number one action of that plan was for an annual required elected official convening on climate. And I don't know that the county has ever hosted that. I don't think they have. So maybe we can helping them host that plan, considering we know how to produce educational content. So thank you, everyone. You're reminding me of some things that we actually thought about a few years ago.
Yeah, let's plan to track this, both the parent engagement session and the meeting with the municipalities for the top of the school year. So near the fall and winter, we'll say, just as a tracked item for this committee. I see Director Morrison.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I think, on the county side, their membership, if I recall correctly, when I was reviewing it, did have somebody from the school system to be on there. This is in the process of when they were actually developing their plan. But now that the plan has been developed, they're focused on implementation, but the committee does still meet. So I was wondering, I think Donald, you were the representative. Have you gone to any of those? Do we need to sort of have, kind of revisit that and make sure that there's some sort of school district representation on that committee that meets at the county level?
Yeah, so I was one of the 14 commissioners on the development of the plan,
Right.
but not on the implementation committee. Although I do know that some of our students, at least one of our students, was on the initial composition of that team. I'm not, but I haven't received updates since then.
Yeah, we should probably look into that, because I think that we need to still be involved, because they're still meeting, that I know, not as frequent. I think they had paused for a minute, so, but I'm not sure where things are. with
It
that.
would be helpful because to have some involvement, because
Yeah.
there are links that were, since there was a PGCPS representative
Yeah.
at the table, there are certainly links to our work and the county's work in the county
Yeah,
CCAP plan. Yeah.
definitely, yeah. Okay, we'll look into that.
Okay, thank you for that, Director Morrison. Okay, everyone, seeing no other hands, I want to thank you for just doing all of our discussion items. We're going to move quickly into our recommendations, the next steps. So next steps, Board Member Busenstrata, the floor is yours to discuss the climate-friendly food priorities for next steps and recommendations for the CCAP ad hoc committee.
Thank you. And I will admit, I do not have, maybe this snuck up on me a little bit, but I will acknowledge that there has been a volunteer working group on climate-friendly food who have been very active and very helpful in making sure that this topic stays front and center. The project, the last project we were working on would be to go visit the Montgomery County Public Schools Central Kitchen. As a board member, I have been promoting our part of the plan for Central Kitchen as we look at consolidation of headquarters feasibility study and keeping an eye on that. But I think what we can do is for this priority in the agenda and calendar, that we'll make sure that that community-based volunteer group that includes many parents, PGCPS parents, is invited and part of that update in the coming year.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So I'll put that as a follow-up item for our next meeting. I see Ms. Novick, your hand is up. The floor is yours.
I just wanted to say, sorry, Michael, thank you for coming. Appreciate you taking your time out of your summer break to be here with us, and wanted to know if you had any remarks you'd like to make on behalf of students and young folk.
I think the only thing I could say on behalf of the student, or I didn't prepare anything, but one thing that I think is definitely something that the students are noticing is that it's hot.
Understatement.
It is hot. And it definitely shows that climate change is a real thing. And now people who are saying, oh, well, the globe isn't warm, well, look outside. Look outside. It's crazy out here.
Very good. And one thing we'd love to do is we continue to have those conversations, continue to elevate the student voice. So continuing to plan intentional programming and conversations that do make sure that the student voice is heard, and that we can, even as the school year starts, maybe you all as the student members of this committee can help us to shape and form some external events that could be utilized within our school buildings, not just for the edification of trying to become a green school, but just for moving the needle forward in those areas. So we're looking to be leaning on you all for that support in those areas. So again, I thank you for being there, and thank you for sharing your thoughts, even though you weren't prepared for it today. All right, everyone. So I think we have come to the end of our agenda here today. We'll tentatively be recessing for the month of July. So the next climate change action plan ad hoc committee meeting will be held on August 28th at 4:30 p.m. tentatively, which is actually the first week of school. Should be the first week of school if I'm thinking about my calendar right. So that's a tentative date for our next meeting, will be in August. Let me go to item 4.0, closing remarks and adjournment. Again, I want to say thank you, everyone, for joining us at the beginning of your summer. I hope you all are taking some time to get some well-deserved rest, some relaxation, staying cool, some sunlight, but not too much. I hope that you all will enjoy your breaks with your family and your friends, and loved ones, and that we'll hit the ground running, ready to work in August. Thank you to all our colleagues. Thank you to Director Morrison. Thank you to Mr. Roberson for being here tonight and your presentation. Really appreciate that, sir. And we'll follow up with any follow-up items that we have. If there's no other items from my wonderful committee, I would like to call for a motion to adjourn. Or we can stay here. Look at each other.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Very good. All right, so there's a motion to adjourn on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
I
With that, the June 26, 2024 Climate Change Action Plan Ad Hoc Committee meeting is adjourned. Have a wonderful night, everyone.
You too. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
See ya.
Have a
Have a
great
good
Take
summer.
care. Thank you.